And this is the Hunter 7.1 update for TellMeWhen. Right now, here I am at Beast Mastery, and at first glance, you'll notice that it doesn't actually appear to be any different. I went ahead and realigned some icons that were misaligned previously, and I changed a few conditions on spells, but the rotation itself is actually quite simple and hasn't changed a whole lot. Spell priorities are exact where they were, and you should see the spells used in about the same way that they were previously. One change I did make, and I want to make mention of this, is that the artifact weapon has an ability in one of the golden dragons. It's a minute-long cooldown, and you're meant to use it on cooldown for maximum DPS potential. Now, the problem is because it's a golden dragon, a lot of hunters won't actually have access to that ability right away, and it makes it difficult for me to put it into the rotation effectively, since it would just be a dead icon. You wouldn't be able to move beyond it. So what I'm going to do, as you'll see right here, I'm going to click the spell itself, get into the rotation, and set its opacity to 0%. What this does is it makes it so that the spell will be ignored in the priority. All other spells will continue to function, and if you don't have the weapon equipped, obviously it won't work. But if you do have the spell, if you have taken the Golden Dragon, you have access to that spell, all you need to do is set that opacity back to 100%, and the spell will show up in the rotation. But by getting this profile by default, it is set to 0%, so you'll have to go ahead and make that adjustment yourself if you have access to that spell. That being said, let's move into Let's move into Marksman. And not a lot has changed in Marksman. The rotation has been refined a little bit. It's been going through changes over the patch. And I've gone ahead and compiled all those changes into this profile here. So a couple things to note. I've increased the priority of spells like Barrage and Murder of Crows, and even Black Arrow, so they should be showing up more frequently and above other spells, and you should also notice that Aim Shot will show up slightly less, since it requires a more focus than it did in the previous builds. Other than that, the spell rotation is the same. The only major difference you'll see in this one is that you will be managing your focus a little better than it was before. There were some issues previously where you were running out of focus and having nothing to cast for several seconds, and that has been greatly reduced in this profile. And as you get more gear, what you'll notice is that you'll be able to cast more spells more frequently, and they'll be more consistent. And again, changing to Patient Sniper, the rotation changes dynamically, and the Marksman's unique in the fact that their rotation does change considerably based on the talent choices you make, whereas with the other profiles, the other specs, those rotations are fairly consistent. You might add a spell into the rotation, but Marksman very much changes the way it plays. So all that is still here, it'll still function the way it used to, and it'll react very well with anything you have. One thing I will note is that the legendary that increases the damage of that one shot by 800%. It is not in the rotation, and that is on purpose because I don't want to promote bad play. That spell is incredibly annoying to deal with, and it's up to the hunter to use it properly. So I'm not going to put it in because I don't want to encourage people who are new to the spec to cast the wrong spells. That being said, let's look at survival. And again, not a lot has changed in survival. I did make one change, and that is I removed the conditions for Aspect of the Eagle. A lot of spells were functioning in the way that they were waiting for you to pop the cooldown in order to start a rotation. I've gone ahead and removed those conditions so that you can have a consistent rotation no matter what you're doing, in case you need to save that cooldown, so that now you'll see Mongoose Bites show up more regularly. It'll still go ahead and try and store them as much as possible, but it won't make you sit there doing nothing but auto attacks and some really basic attacks for such an extended duration. But yeah, you should see some overall improvements in all three of the specs, and just be able to get a little bit more DPS than you were able to before. But again, everything's functioning the same way, and like I said, for the Beast Mastery, just toss that toggle back to 100% to have that icon show up. But yeah, I hope you guys like what you see, and I will catch you in the final video.